One day he says to me, he says, Tayyab, who's your favorite Marvel character? I said, Wolverine. He said, why Wolverine? I said, man, come on, he's got these cool claws. He said, was that his superpower? I'm like, yes. He said, well, Tayyab, think back to the last scene of the comic. And at that time it was a comic, now you can think back to the last scene of the movie. But he goes, think back to the last scene when the world was almost over and someone needed to go into this reactor and live long enough to go all the way to the back to press this red button to stop the reactor to save the world. Who did it? It was Wolverine. And then he said, was it the claws that got him through the reactor? And I said, no, it wasn't. It was his superhuman healing ability. And so what he said to me then was, he said, Tayyab, similarly, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you a superpower. But now it's in a raw format. It's rough. You've got to explore and discover it. And when you find it, Tayyab, you've got to sharpen it into a skill. And when you finally got that thing coming out like a sharp blade, you're going to have a choice. On that day, Shaitan's going to come to you and say, man, you could really be rich off of this. Or on that day, you decide to use your superpower to serve humanity. So everybody in this room is a superhero or a superhero with a superpower. You are a high-performing Muslim or Muslimah. You have a super talent. The days of generalists is gone. It's about being a specialist who's superpowered in that skill set. And with your skill set, you're adding value to the world in service to humanity. And you do it seeking the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that's number one. A high-performing Muslim emulates the mission, the greatest sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, which is the service to humanity. I actually skipped my first one. That's what this was. This is service to humanity. Okay, now I'm going to go to 2. Sorry about that. Second is clear vision of success. And if you email me, I will email you the original script and khutbah. And you can re-give it in your classrooms. Actually, my sister just texted me Thursday. She's like, yo, bro, I need the 5 characteristics. And I sent it to her. So if you email me, I'll give it to you. The second characteristic I mentioned is clear vision of success. I had a friend one time, we were driving in the YM days, in the young Muslim days in the 90s. We were driving from city to city, going to masjids and starting these youth neighbor nets. We call them neighbor nets in the YM. And on this drive, he says to me in the conversation, he says, I don't think Jannah exists on this planet, man. I said, yeah, what do you mean? He goes, I feel like everyone's trying to build Jannah here, but that's not how it works. What do you mean? He goes, Jannah does not exist here. It only exists after we leave here. And that is the true vision of success. One of my mentors said to me that Tayyab, silence the applause-seeking side of yourself. Silence the applause-seeking side of yourself. Because that's the nafs. The nafs, right, wants to be an animal. It wants to be an animal. It wants to feed itself. That's all it wants to do. And the nafs wants everything now. That's all it cares about. And it's so confused and delusional that it thinks Jannah is here. It's not here. So whatever we are doing as high-performing Muslims and Muslimah, right? We know it ain't about here. I ain't building Jannah here. I'm trying to build it in the afterlife, inshallah. That's the clear vision of success. And Shaitan wants to convince you that you've got to build it here, that you've got to have all the best things. Right? Now, it's okay to have a taste every once in a while. I like a fine steak every once in a while. Allah allows us that. Islam allows us that. But I ain't building Jannah here. We're not building Jannah here. We're trying to arrive at Jannah. So a high-performing Muslim, the second characteristic is a very clear vision of success. You know, when you look at this picture, you see, I think it's a guy, kid, on a surfboard. Does that guy or kid on that surfboard have any control over that wave? No. Any control over where he's going to end up landing on the beach? One day, I was driving through New York City, and I have a 17-year-old son, mashallah. He just graduated from Islamic school. He's going to NYU in a couple of weeks. And we're sitting in a car, and my brother's with me too, my older brother. And my son asks him about, what's your plan about something? And my brother said, he goes, hey man, you know, I'm just riding the wave of qadr. I'm just doing my best on the surfboard and riding the wave of the qadr of Allah. Blew my mind away. I'm a CEO. I founded multiple corporations, multi-million-dollar corporations, and for 17 years I'm a global CEO, and for years my job required me to anticipate, to think about outcomes, and to obsess over like, this has to happen, this has to happen, this has to happen. And it drove me insane. And then when I finally realized that I had no control over outcomes, I started to sleep so lovely at night. And that's the cheat that we have as Muslims. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is so amazing. He's already told us, don't worry about outcomes. I got you. I got you. I had a mentor one time when he was explaining qadr to me. He said, Tayyab, when bad things happen, know that that's only your perspective. And Allah has the bird's eye view. And He sees the perspective you don't see. So he said, let's say this chair is a bad thing that happened to me. I can only see this side of it. I only see the back side of it. But Allah sees all of it. And so a high-performing Muslim lets go of outcomes. You do not base any decisions on outcomes. You do not obsess over outcomes. That's the third characteristic of a high-performing Muslim. And then I thought to myself, and by the way, I thought to myself, okay, I'm a CEO. I'm supposed to think about outcomes, where I want to take the business, and then I'm supposed to think about plans on how to get there. So if Allah has already written these outcomes out, where do I invest my time? I can't do nothing. I need to tie the camel. Right? And so a high-performing Muslim obsesses planning and excellence in execution. A high-performing Muslim practices excellence in planning and execution. Excellence, ihsan. We're required to practice ihsan. We're required to let go of outcomes. And I have, in the back of the room, 4 of my global team members here. You ask them, Muslim and non-Muslim, do I measure their performance on outcomes? zero performance reviews on outcomes. When things happen, it's literally, okay, did you try your best? This idea, I applied it with my own kids. I'm telling you, it works. When all you do is celebrate the grade, you're teaching them that outcomes matter more than anything else. But when you ask them, hey, do you feel good about how hard you worked? Yes. Then what you got is the best because Allah planned it that way. My daughter, 16-year-old daughter, mashallah, she won 3rd place at Miss National. That's a big deal nowadays, apparently. Miss National is a big deal. And she just got back and she's through the moon for winning 3rd place in this competition. But she was sort of like, I got 3rd place. And I said, did you try your best? Yes. Do you feel like you put it in 110%? Yes. Then alhamdulillah. We're not celebrating your 3rd place, honey. We're celebrating your hard work. I'm proud of your hard work. The 3rd place was just from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's a different perspective. It's a different mindset. Right? Nowadays, I have parents who I'm working with them and their kids, coaching their kids, and the parents are, you know this better than me, are so focused on the outcomes, and these kids are terrified to take a bad grade home. They're so terrified that they will do by any means necessary get an A. And you know what that means. By any means necessary. Now imagine if they adopt that behavior when they get to the workplace. They get to the workplace, consequences are way higher. Right? So a high-performing Muslim, right, practices excellence in planning and excellence in execution. Because that's all that matters. The outcomes are from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The outcomes are from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you make high quality decisions. Planning leads you to high quality decisions. If you're not practicing excellence in planning and excellence in execution, then you're just winging it. A high quality Muslim doesn't wing it. No winging it. Everyone has to take the no winging oath. Raise your right hand. I will no longer wing it. Nobody took the oath. There's another exercise that we do. It's called the art of playbooking. If you want like a session on the art of playbooking for you or for your school, we'll do it for you, inshallah. No worries, okay? The art of playbooking. The art of playbooking, basically, you walk through creating a vision for the project, aligning the minds and stakeholders into the vision, measuring whether this plan is actionable, affordable, and achievable, which is a 3-day framework, and then a visual walkthrough of your plan. Not a checklist in a Microsoft project plan, but a visual walkthrough of your plan. That's playbooking. So a high-performing Muslim practices excellence in planning and excellence in execution and makes high-quality decisions. That's 4. I gave you 4, right? I'll email this to you. 5th one, and the last one. Fifth quality of a high-performing Muslim is that he or she practices extreme humility. When I used to give this khutbah in this talk, I would say obsesses extreme humility. Humility must be an obsession. There are these actors, like Daniel Day-Lewis, like Christian Bale, who plays Batman, and there's been studies on why are they so amazing at their acting. Jack Nicholson, and the conclusion is because they fully embody the role of the character. We have to fully embody the role of extreme humility. Because when you're out there doing social good, Shaitan knows he's not gonna get you in a bar, likely. You're not gonna get you on some cocaine. Probably not get you on some crack or some, a bunch of really bad things. You know where I'm going with this. But how Shaitan gets you is arrogance and pride. And that's why it's so important, if you are in the business of social good, if you are in the business of social service, if you are trying to practice the ultimate sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, which is to serve humanity, then you have to obsess humility. Obsess it. One time, you cannot even once convince yourself that that anything was because of you alone. You can't. I was 24, 25 years old. I was the national president of Young Muslims. I was at an ICNA convention. I just gave a speech in front of 10,000 people. I'm like 22, 23 years old. Okay, now I'm 40. So, not that I'm any wiser, I have no idea. But I come off of stage and everyone is clapping, right? Because these guys just saw a 22, 23-year-old kid in the 90s or early 2000s give a talk. That doesn't happen at ICNA and ISLAM conventions at that time. And I'm coming off the stage, and I'll never forget one of my mentors who came up to me. He said, remember, this is all from Allah. Because he's trying to coach me at that critical moment. Young boy. Shaitan could easily grab a hold of me. And I'm being vulnerable right now on purpose, because I also believe in Patrick Lencioni's 5 dysfunctions of team. And he talks about how to achieve true trust, you have to allow yourself to be vulnerable. So I'm being vulnerable right now in this story sharing. So when he comes up to me, he sees it. He's my mentor, right? He's sitting in the front stage, I come off stage, he comes up to me and he sees it, like crowd screaming. He doesn't want me to go down this path. We all know someone who's going down that road, right? They're chasing the drug of celebration. And people celebrating that. That's how Shaitan gets his hooks in, right? And he basically says there, no, remember, this is all from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then immediately people walk up, oh wow, young boy, so good speech, mashallah, mashallah, mashallah. And then I went up to him afterwards and I said, brother, I'm like, you're telling me that this is all from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then all these people are coming up to me and they're saying, wow, amazing, good job. I don't know how to internalize this. I'm confused, I'm lost. And he said something amazing. He said, at that moment, he goes, people are thanking you. Know that they're thanking you to fulfill their sunnah. And if you think that way, that they're doing it also for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it helps you purify your receipt of that and process the receipt of that. Because those who are not thankful to others are not thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So allow them to gain in that reward. Phenomenal advice at that moment. And then he said, and for you, the recipient, do the dhikr of astaghfar at that moment. Because they don't know your weaknesses, and you don't know your weaknesses. So as they're thanking you, say astaghfirullah underneath your breath. And what that has allowed is in those moments when Allah moves you around on the playing field, and Allah moves you around, you don't end up with that thought of, man, they can't do this to me. I don't deserve this. I did all that and I didn't get credit. We're just players on the field. And Allah's moving us around. That's all it is. So high-performing Muslims never, this is not in the 5 characteristics, I'm just saying, the high-performing Muslims do not bunker down in their roles. The roles don't make us. We're just there to serve humanity, and Allah's moving us around. I may be a teacher today. I may be an assistant principal. I may be mowing the lawn. Doesn't matter. Right? Pride. Pride is the force of the nafs that's trying to conquer the high-performing individual. And the counterforce to that, the opposite of pride, is humility. The opposite of pride is humility. How do you increase humility? Through servitude. Constantly engaging in servitude. And as people celebrate you, practice istighfar. Obsess humility. The fifth characteristic of a high-performing Muslim. Right? And remember also, this the mentor, his name is Paul Majelli. He was a non-Muslim. When I went back to get my executive MBA, alhamdulillah, I had given the commencement speech to the entire MBA program of the university. And same story, 10 years later. I come off, Allah sends lessons from everywhere. I come off the stage, Paul Majelli, 80-year-old, former president of the University of Denver, now the dean of the business school, walks up to me and he basically says something else. He says, Tayyab, he goes, remember, the arrogant mind doesn't learn. And I'm like looking at him, arrogant mind doesn't learn. And then he kind of smiles, walks off, and he comes back and he goes, because it doesn't ask the right questions. So always remain humble. Even now that you have your MBA, wherever you go in life, always remain humble. And I thought about it later on. I said, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Hidayah is everywhere, and if the arrogant mind doesn't learn because it doesn't ask the right questions, then it takes humility to see the Hidayah. And to get to humility, it takes servitude, service to humanity. So in engaging in service to humanity, you're emulating the greatest sunnah. You are humbling the heart. And you're opening the mind to continuously learn and grow. It's amazing. It's beautiful. It's so beautiful. 5 characteristics of the high-performing Muslim. You guys got all 5? Or we need to go back through those? You guys know who this guy is? I got a chance to hang out. He is the only man on the planet that broke Michael Jordan's 72 winning streak. He's Muslim. He's an athlete. You can get him for your schools, by the way. He now goes around and talks to schools. Amazing, amazing human being. Right? And high-performing Muslim. You sit, you have a conversation with him. A lot of us didn't even know about him. But practices these 5 things. Other high-performing Muslims. Malcolm X. When I do this with high school students, I go through this exercise so they can see models of heroes and sheroes. You know, I argue with some folks who are educators and work with youth, as I always say that one of the things we have to do is we have to paint pictures of models of success for our kids and our students. And just telling stories with Sahabas, yes, we have to do that, but that's hard for them to imagine, especially since we don't have any pictures of them. Right? I'm not saying we need to go paint pictures, by the way. Don't tell my mom I said that. Right, but we need models of high-performing Muslims. High-performing individuals, that's what this is about. You don't have to be a Muslim to be high-performing. This is how to make the world a better place. Of course, Muhammad Ali, and of course, Ittihad. Right? And then you go further into other names of Sahaba and Sahabi. So I use these models when I'm in a classroom. I will give you this deck, I will give you this script if you want to use this in your classroom as well. And the full detail of the khutbah as well if you want to go through. But those are the 5 characteristics of a high-performing Muslim. And of course, the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ is the ultimate model, the ultimate model of the high-performing Muslim of all time. Someone who basically his entire life was to serve humanity. You know, when I'm in this class with the youth, usually 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th graders, I'll say to them, what do you think the greatest sunnah, that's how I do the beginning conversation is more engaging, I had more time. What do you think is the greatest sunnah of the Prophet? Raise your hand. And these kids will raise their hand and say the beard, right? You know, he prayed a shock, or he Qiyamul Layl. They'll come up with these examples, and they think he fasted on Mondays and Thursdays, and they'll you know, the things that they remember are sunnah that they think is the greatest sunnah. And then I arrive at, well, you know, what was his mission? And as soon as I say what was his mission, the answer I get from the classroom is usually to convert everyone to Islam. Or I'll say, what was the mission of the Prophet ﷺ? To convert everyone to Islam. And then the response is, well, if his mission, or to establish the Islamic State. Second answer I get. Oh God, what's going on in this classroom? And I'll say, well, if the greatest sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, his mission on the planet was to establish an Islamic State or to convert everyone to Islam, then why did he take an army to Abyssinia? He didn't. He never took an army to Abyssinia. He never forced conversion anywhere. Right? So what was his true sunnah? His greatest sunnah? He was here as a mercy to humanity. What does that mean? To serve humanity. To serve humanity. We are on this planet to serve others. And guess what? If you serve others, Allah serves you. That sounds like a good deal. That sounds like a really good deal. So that's the first characteristic of the high-performing Muslim. Right? Second characteristic of a high-performing Muslim, I know some of you are checking your notes. Second characteristic of a high-performing Muslim is a clear vision of success. Clear vision of success. We're not here to build Jannah on this planet. We're not building Jannah on this planet. We're not building Jannah on this planet. Like, we literally have to look in the mirror and say that. Especially in that moment when we're feeling uncomfortable, or we got a bad slice of pizza for the day, right? Or those jeans or t-shirt or something we really wanted just didn't fit right. Or things just didn't go as comfortable, the air conditioner isn't set right. Feels good in here though. We're not building Jannah on this planet. I say that to my kids. Alhamdulillah, I have 6 children. And I tell them over and over and over again, we ain't building Jannah on this planet. Get out there and serve. How are you going to serve people? Get out there and serve. We're building Jannah in the afterlife, inshallah. Number three characteristic of a high-performing Muslim is embrace outcomes. That's the short version. Embrace outcomes. Embrace is very different than accept. Accept is, okay, I'll take it. Embrace is, yes, Allah, thank you for this outcome. Embrace is very different. No matter how pleasantly expected or unpleasantly unexpected, embrace the outcome. Grab hold of it. Okay? Next one, number 4, excellence in planning and execution. Practice excellence, ihsan, in planning and execution. Don't wing it. Don't wing it. I remember when I was a kid, my mom would say, like take the dishes out of the dishwasher. And if we walked over like, slam the thing down, clank, clank, chip, chip, she would say, if you're not going to do it like you care, don't do it at all. What was she saying? Do it with ihsan. I literally say this to my kids, I say it to my staff, I say it to the nonprofits I work with. There's no shortage in the world of ideas because there's no shortage in the world of problems. If you're going to pick a problem to fix, fix it like you care. You wing it, are you caring? You're not caring. If the stakes are high, you're going to care. Right? So do everything like you're all in, or don't do it at all. Plan like you care. Execute like you care. And then the fifth characteristic of a high-performing Muslim is to obsess humility. Practice extreme humility. So you got all five now? Everybody has all five? Good. I think that's it. Oh, there they are. If you email me, also the team in the back, Kathy, Christine, Kim, and Nawab in the back, they have our cards, my business card, and my cell phone's on there. If you need a session with your school, a conversation to think through a challenge, a problem or opportunity statement, or anything, we're here to help. We're here to serve. We're here to serve. So I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive us for any shortcomings, forgive us if I said anything not correct, anything good is all from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless this room of heroes and sheroes, to be amazing super sheroes and heroes out there serving humanity, and allow us to collect as many tickets to Jannah, as many tickets to Jannah as possible, which are those sincere acts. I don't want a stack of dead deeds. I want a bunch of golden tickets of sincerity, getting me to Jannah, inshallah, and getting all of us to Jannah, inshallah.
I have a question about YM.
Yes.
I can ask you separately.
Yeah.
So I hear you saying that you had mentors like your whole life. Was that part of YM too, or is it just like that was like your personal life?
This is a good question. I am the product of a village that raised me, I encourage the village mindset for other parents, as opposed to what I call the nuclear mindset, which is, no, this is my child, I have responsibility to be the parent. Delegate parenting to the village for a higher quality child, inshallah. And that's done through mentorship. So YM, at my day, we built a network of mentors. Today, they still have it. Young Muslims still follows the same recipe of mentors. My own kids aren't around a YM NeighborNet. What I do as a parent is I identify other sort of models of success, invest my time in them, and have conversations with them, get to know them, understand what their interests are, and then align them with, hey, would you mind doing a trip with my kid, or something like that.
So, what's your advice? We have a very nice YM neighborhood here.
Yeah.
But they don't have mentors.
Yeah.
Adult mentors, they don't have zero. So, and there is no other alternative for our kids except to be it. So, what's your advice that we can, and as you said, like we have something in Arabic, it says, "Zamar al-hayy la yutlaq," like the flock of the sheep, like the tribe would not, like, you wouldn't enjoy them.
Yeah.
So that's like, now my kids like, okay, I've been hearing you for 15 years, I need someone new. So, but then when they go out to the YM and then there isn't that mentor, then we have a problem. So do you have any advice for that?
Yeah, so YM is, what I know about YM's infrastructure is they try to build peer mentors. And what I would say to you is follow up with me in 3 weeks, because I'm speaking at their Florida camp in 2 weeks.
Okay.
So I'll have intel.
So my husband didn't want to send my son to that camp just because he's not sure about the mentors there. So
Well, I'll be there.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully I have some credibility, inshallah. But there's some good mentors that get that camp, inshallah.
Okay.
Yeah. We can talk more later.
Okay.
Jazakallah khair. It was very inspiring. It was very inspiring for an aging